Today's episode is brought to you by the amazing people at DraftKings Sportsbook. You know, the NFL's official sports betting partner. Yes, indeed. Safe, secure, and reliable. And ladies and gentlemen, for the big game this weekend, they have something awesome going on, ladies. Yes. I'm talking about a super duper 56-1 odds on the big game. You bet $5, you'll win up to $280 in free bets. All you have to do is pick either the team from LA and they win, or the team from Cincinnati and they win. It is that simple. But, Deke, you got to use the promo code. And the promo code is MOATS. It is that simple. MOATS. You use that promo code, you put that bet in there, and you win it on the big game. Poo-wee. Then after that, man, you listen to our advice and make you some more money.
I'm excited
when
for
you
some
repurpose
of these
that
props
money
for the big game.
Absolutely. So that's how it's going to be. And shout out to DraftKings. But we also know this. When you're making money or attempting to make money, sometimes that quest can be a little tough. Sometimes you could get lost.
You're chasing the purple dragon.
Yeah, you're chasing it and you can get lost on that road. You feel me? Mm-hmm. All I would say is this. If you happen to know someone with a gambling problem, maybe they need crisis counseling or referral services, and they're located in New York, they should probably just call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or HOPE-NY. Excuse me on that one. Once again, it's 877-8-HOPE-NY. All right? That's if you're located in New York. Now, Deke, if you're located anywhere else, you know what you need to do?
I'm not located in New York.
Well, you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. I say, you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, it's interesting with him because a year ago, we were hype on him. We were talking about how, you know, he had some of the foundation of being a complete back. I broke down some of the tape of him out in LA with the Chargers, and we was like, man, he did some nice things out there. We talked about him bouncing around from different organizations, but also talking about how it necessarily wasn't because of him. It was some of the things around him, whether it was O-line, whether it was just dysfunctional organization. But he comes here, and we really never got a chance to see him get opportunity like that, largely because we brought in Najee Harris, and Najee absolutely balled out this season, which was great to see. But we still need RB number 2.
Yeah.
Do you feel like he can be that guy? Because if you do,
I actually do. I liked what I saw from him this year.
Okay.
We just didn't give it to him enough. At points, he looked better than Najee. Now, I don't know if Najee was banged up. I would like a higher end RB2, though. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. I would like to address it via James Conner, Cordell Patterson, like we talked about. But if we're not doing that, I think he's better than like McFarland or Snell at this point.
Yeah, for me, I definitely think, you know, he's past Benny and McFarland. Number 1, because he hasn't showed any type of ball security issues with us. Number 2, he runs with a little bit more pop, a little bit more ability, and he has a lot more control than a McFarland as well. I mean, we talked about that.
McFarland's been hurt this year too.
Well, yeah, so it's like we didn't get a chance to see him recover.
I guess we're carrying that over a little bit. I guess we have to, right?
And unless you can show me tape where it's not up there.
Did he look decent in the preseason for like 2 snaps?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we didn't see any of it. So for me, I have to go off of what we saw. Imagine if Deontay didn't play a down this year, what would we be saying about Deontay? Great route runner, got drop issues.
We're still saying that, but yeah.
But that was what it did. A little bit. So with McFarland, until I see him play with more control and look like he understands how to run with his speed and make people miss consistently at this level, I have to go off.
You even say he looked good in camp, right?
Right. So until I see that to this level in these games, I have to stick with that right now. I do think he's improved, though, largely in that area, just based on what we saw in camp. But as a whole, we saw Deontay look great in camp. We saw Deontay look great for the first half of the season.
Yep.
But then we saw the issues reoccur. So that's the biggest reason why I said it like that. But yeah, with Kalen Ballage, I mean, obviously he brings a lot to the table in terms of just what you see of him on tape. The question is, do we think that in a potentially larger role as a defined running back 2, he could still thrive? He would still look the same. I think that's the bigger question on my end for him because we just haven't seen it. But
I don't think we will either.
Yeah, I don't either because Coach Tom, you know how he do. He ran him to the ground, man.
The way I see it playing, The way I see Najee taking less carries is if we bring in a guy like Patterson. That's it. Or it'd have to be a guy like McFarland that emerges. It has to be the change of pace type of thing. Because Ballage is too similar to Najee.
Yeah.
You don't
But
want
you
to take
even
Najee
said it
out the
yourself,
field.
though. When he had some opportunities,
I liked
he
him.
looked good.
At points, I wanted him to get more carries.
Right.
Just I wanted to see more of them.
So, and that's my thing. That's why I'm kind of conflicted, because it's like, man, if we know we've already seen some frameworks of things with him in terms of why we would like him or want to see more of him, why do we necessarily have to go outside to find that? Because outside is going to cost more. James Conner is going to cost more.
He's not coming back.
Cordell Patterson, I don't think he's coming back either. But Cordell Patterson, he's going to cost more as well. And I'm just asking myself, those are higher end guys, but those are also going to directly cut into Najee's touches, like defined chunk coming out of it. Whereas when you talk about Kalen, it's not going to be a defined, hey, this guy's going to get X touches and we're going to scheme this for him. So that's the other part where I'm saying to myself, like, I'm not necessarily opposed to bringing him back and not necessarily bringing in one of those higher end guys. Even though I would love a higher end guy,
Yeah.
I just think that it could also be a lot smoother of a process with a Ballage here without having to overcomplicate it, trying to figure out how to factor in the amount of touches to keep Cordell happy, but at the same time, not taking it away from Najee too much where he gets disgruntled, but at the same time, not overworking Najee so we can actually have him last longer than 2 years in the NFL. Like, those are some of the things that I'm concerned about with that dynamic with him.
You could see a Melvin Ingram situation playing out.
I could easily see something like that,
Garrett
man. Yeah, because those guys get paid off of touches. Those guys get paid off the productivity, and their shelf life is extremely short. So they're going to want to get out there to strike as much as they can. They're going to want to get out there to make a name for themselves. But at the same time, you have a young stud running back who's also trying to make a name for themselves, who's also trying to, get paid that mega pay deal. So it's just, I just feel like with that dynamic, it could create a little bit of an issue.
Is Marlon Mack our guy?
I would love
Is
it,
he
man.
the perfect like RB2 then?
I would
where
love it. Well,
wouldn't be too much for him.
But at the same time, I don't think he would want to walk into that situation. I mean, he was pretty much in a similar situation in Indy, where it's like, man, he's talented enough where he feels like he should be getting a lot more touches and he's not getting them, so he just be quiet.
He'll probably go to a scenario where it's a little more uncertain.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah.
But no, the same names are up here. Cordell Patterson, James Conner, Sonny Michel, Melvin Gordon,
What are your
David
thoughts on
Johnson.
Sonny Michel, though?
I would view him the same way. I don't want him being the RB1. He'd be RB2, but
because he
a
really
solid
wasn't
RB
utilized like that in LA.
a solid RB2 would mean 30-40% of the carries. I don't think we're doing that to Najee. I just don't.
Yeah.
Didn't do it with Bell.
Right, so if we're not
Didn't
going
do it last
so
year
just
with
think about
Najee.
that, though. You just said
With a terrible
hold on,
offensive
say it
line
again. You
even.
said 20 to 30%, right?
I'd say 30 to 40. But yeah, even 20 to 30 is like a solid,
So
solid backup.
imagine if you're Cordell Patterson, where you were the feature guy in Atlanta, to the point where you're going to get a nice compensation this year. To go from that to talking 30-40% snaps, man, that to me, I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a clash, man.
The thing you could say about Patterson, as opposed to every one of these other dudes, is the gadget type of role that he could play.
Very
Receiver.
true. You can get him touches and
Man,
other
this could be a
avenues.
specialty in the jet sweeps. That might be his position, actually.
Well, think about this.
JS,
He would still get 30 plus snaps. You would still get him 15 plus touches, but it would come in different ways.
Put him at even like, I don't want to say fullback, but 2 RB
right. No,
sets,
seriously.
some
The
weird
Queens
stuff.
personnel. Yeah, so you could have him still get his touch. You would still have him run routes. We're not saying that he has to get the ball every single time, but he'll know he'll be targeted.
Debo Samuel.
Like that type of prime. That's a perfect example, actually, man. And we know that he could still, actually, if you needed him to go out there and play some receiver, he could still give you some of that as well. So, yeah, man, he's the one. I just don't want to talk myself into it because
You don't get your hopes up.
I already know it's gonna let me down, man.
We need Canada to be a good salesman.
It's gonna
Get
let
in
me
the room
down,
with
man.
Patterson. You see Claypool? This is you right here.
Because see, that's my other part.
This is all you right here.
'Cause see-
All these jet sweeps.
Because imagine, like, if you're Cordell, you're like, yeah, I'm selling you on Matt Canada here. You're like, let me see a scheme again. Nah,
Dude, those jet sweeps are all his, though.
exclusively. I don't.
Those are all his. Ray McLeod?
That's
his role now. Ray? We just don't have the gadget running back type
That's
of
what
stuff
it is?
just yet.
Yeah.
But we'll say we'll get you in there.
Yeah. Maybe if he likes jet sweeps like that, then sure, it might work. I just, I don't know if that's the best selling point. Like, you are a jet sweep guy. Yes, you are.
So Kalen Ballage, same thing with him. I'm not opposed, but it's not the end of the world if we lose him.
Yeah.
All depends on what we do with the RB2 spot in terms of free agency.
Yeah, if we're not touching it in terms of bringing in a higher end guy, I'd definitely say you re-sign Kalen Ballage because we know what you have in him, and I do feel like he gives you probably the best of the others in terms of him, Benny Snell, and Anthony McFarland as it stands today. So yeah, I'm down with that. But if you can get a Cordell Patterson, absolutely get Cordell. If you could talk James Conner into coming back, I highly doubt it. If you could, call him up, bring him on back. All right?
No way.
Yeah, I would even announce the signing again, ladies and gentlemen. Your Pittsburgh Steelers are bringing back James Conner, running back, Arizona Cardinals.
The thing to think about too, whenever we mention if the Steelers don't address this in free agency or through the draft, maybe in the back of our minds we're thinking, why the hell wouldn't they address it?
Right.
But if we do address it, that means we are putting cap space toward that. You know,
Yes.
signing a quarterback for $8 million, signing a quarterback for $5 million, signing a running back for $5 million, whatever it is, that we could be putting to linebackers, cornerbacks, whatever it is. So there is a scenario where we don't address it, and that's still a good thing. It's still a fine thing because as long as we're putting it elsewhere, we have the RB1 with Najee. We have the unproven guys at quarterback because we would just be bringing in somewhat more unproven guys. It's just there's a scale to some of this, right?
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
That's all. It's not the end of the world if we don't address it. I would like us to, but that just means we're doing other positions.